the man go through.
Ron Jans, Channel 3 Sports.
The following program is brought to you in living color on WKYC-TV.
Oh, hello, friend, and how do you do? Hello, friend, and how do you do? Introduce yourself to me.
My name's Woodrow the Woodsman. I'm on a riverboat down the mighty Ohio with Barnaby, and I brought my trombone. What's your name?
My name is Barnaby. Oh, hello, friend, and how do you do? How do you do?
Good evening, I'm Del Donahue, and these are Channel 3's Golden Years.
Now and forever, you are a part of me. And the man.
Well, I'll tell you, I enjoyed being here, even though it's not the Johnny Carson show.
Well, okay, maybe one day, you know?
Good evening, I'm Dave Patterson. The news tonight from Strong.
When you walked into my life,
it is that tradition which is causing the current friction here in the quiet town of Oxford.
Cleveland Trust cannot blackmail the people of this city.
Still unbroken. And think about all
Most members of council thought Stokes was doing a bad job.
Talking to a guy like you is great. You know what you're talking about, and you're a great host.
We had a moment, just one moment.
Thank you, Sonny. What a ride, what a ride.
Dream beyond a lifetime. We are the lucky ones. Some
America
people
takes home the
never
gold.
get to do all we got to do. Now and forever, I will always think of you.
Welcome to our 50th anniversary celebration. Shortly before 9 o'clock on Halloween night, October 31st, 1948, WNBK Channel 4, as we were known in those days, signed on for the first time. Our owner was NBC. Our beginning was modest by today's standards. We came on the air with a test pattern followed by a brief hello. Then at 9 o'clock we broadcast our first program to the Cleveland audience, the Philco TV Playhouse from NBC in New York. Tonight we'll travel down memory lane and we'll share moments that are milestones in our history. We'll get reacquainted with a few familiar faces. So we hope you'll sit back and enjoy this remarkable collection of sights and sounds that have survived on film, videotape, and of course, in our minds for the past 5 decades. It was the late 1940s, and like the rest of the country, Cleveland was in a post-war boom. The economy was thriving, our professional baseball team had just won the World Series. Thomas Burke was our city's mayor, and Cleveland was the nation's 7th largest city, with nearly 1 million residents. Yes, life was good and television was making headlines as the new source for information and entertainment.
Because the real reason I'm wearing this little outfit is the fact that a lot of performers die on television, and if that happens to me, I want to be prepared for it.
As the sales of TV receivers skyrocketed, WNBK needed a stronger signal to reach more homes. With that in mind, a new and more powerful transmitter was installed, making WNBK the most powerful station in the Midwest. However, to prevent our stronger signal from interfering with Channel 5 in Cleveland and Channel 4 in Detroit, the Federal Communications Commission moved us to Channel 3, where we've been ever since. As television began to threaten radio's popularity, TV executives started hiring many of radio's most popular performers, giving them their own shows. Legends like Bob Hope, Milton Berle, and Sid Caesar became NBC's first big stars. And for the first time, audiences could put a face with the voice. Along with the popular variety shows of the late 40s and early 50s, NBC also began to experiment with other types of live programming. In 1947, NBC aired the first televised World Series. And later, in 1952, our network launched a morning news program called The Today Show, with host Dave Garroway.
Good morning to you. The very first good morning of what I hope and suspect will be a great many good mornings between you and I. Here it is, Jack said, January 14th, 1952, when NBC begins a new program called Today, and if it doesn't sound too revolutionary, I really believe begins a new kind of television.
When we continue our 50th anniversary celebration, we'll share some golden moments with one of Cleveland television's living legends, my friend and colleague, Tom Haley. Don't touch that die. He's doing the famous Haley Shuffle. Linda is...
Am I cutting through cardboard?
No.
Oh, okay. What happened over there?
Well, Linda's a specialist, and this is her favorite kind of cake.
What?
You see, some people like to make chocolate
I know, but
cake.
it's not cutting.
Some people like to make chocolate
Wait a
cake,
minute.
spice cake. Linda likes to make sponge cake, and this
You
is
want to push down on that?
This is one of her favorite
What's
types
wrong
of
here?
cake. See, you're not listening to me. I said Linda makes sponge cakes.
I don't care what she makes.
Now, you see, that is nothing in there but sponge. I mean, you...
Oh, it's real sponge.
Yes. Doesn't take him long, does it? Welcome back to Channel 3's Golden Years, our 50th anniversary celebration. For more than a half century, Tom Haley was a fixture in Cleveland broadcasting. He began in 1946 as an announcer at WJW. He later moved to our sister station, WTAM Radio, and eventually came to television at WNBK in 1948. Tom was the host for countless shows such as Haley's Daily, Cash on the Line, and Dialogue. And I'm proud to say that we were partners at the breakfast table weekday mornings for 18 wonderful years.
It seemed longer. Just 18?
Now, we had 18 of the station's 50 years, 18 wonderful years with the breakfast timers at the breakfast table. But you had all 50 of the years that we're celebrating with this program.
Are you trying to make me older than you? Is that
No,
what you're attempting to do
No, I'm
here?
just going to say that if anybody has memories of those early days, has to be Tom Haley.
You know one thing that happened to me here that I've never forgotten? One day I came back from lunch. This is the Mike Douglas show when it first started. And I walked through Studio A next door. And I got up near the corner where they were rehearsing, and there was a piano and this homely little gal sitting in a chair. I looked at her and I thought, I wonder who she is. And I started out the back door to go into the dressing room when the studio was just filled with this magnificent voice. And I looked back, and it was this homely little girl singing. And you know,
Careful.
Who was she?
Don't know.
It was Barbara Streisand.
Well, you're filled with memories.
Yeah, well, another memory is this. When I first started in television, see, we were all in radio at WTAM, is what you said? Mm-hmm. We were all in radio, and we'd never been in television. So suddenly here were these faces. People recognized the voices, but not the face. And I got all this mail that would say, we thought you were a little short, fat guy. See, they were thinking of you even then.
I wasn't even here when you were starting.
You know, we didn't know what we were doing in those early days. They said, nobody knew anything about television.
Sure.
We said, well, how do we act on television differently from talking into a mic? And they said, well, you just be yourself. So I did that, and I've done that as long as I've ever worked. Damn it, haven't I?
It's worked for you.
So I'll tell you what, just about everything we did in those days was live, and it was ad-libbed. You had to be able, you didn't have a script, you just had to make it up. Every day we tried something a little bit different from what we had the day before, and we were given the freedom to experiment. And boy, did we take advantage of that. In the late 1940s and early 50s, WNBK also produced local programs featuring jazz and the big band sound. We shared an orchestra with WTAM Radio, which on occasion featured one of our staff announcers handling the vocals, the late Jay Miltner.
My baby don't care for shows. My baby don't care for clothes. My baby just cares for me.
I think what I really loved was the beginning of TV, and I was here. And you do a show in this studio, 2 minutes to run over to the next studio. You had to memorize everything. You made a lot of mistakes, and people enjoyed that. I mean, they'd write in letters, and they'd say, well, that guy is human.
Baby just cares for me.
Along with the late Jay Miltner, who could sing up a storm, I worked with many of Cleveland's television pioneers, including Pete French, one of our first anchors from the South, Gloria Brown, who did a woman's show and is still living down there in Bath, Tom Manning, the old redhead who used to do the World Series on NBC, the lovable Big Wilson, who died a few years ago down in Florida, and of course, my dear friend Lynn Sheldon, who is still very much alive. Right, Lynn?
Hi, old codger. How are you? My name's Barnaby.
I'm old.
When Westinghouse assumed ownership on January 21st, 1956, WNBK-TV became KYW-TV. Our new bosses wanted to make an immediate impact on the Cleveland audience. They were determined to become the leader in locally produced programming that featured creativity, style, and a lot of imagination. With that in mind, entertainer Lynn Sheldon put on an elf-like costume, added pointed ears and a straw hat, and became Barnaby.
In those days, live, we didn't have any rehearsal really, and it was just things that I thought I could do. Instead of writing anything, I told the stagehands to put some props out, and I'd go out and make up. And I was only going to do this for a couple of weeks. And there was one cartoon in a half-hour program that we had. And I'm standing at the door, ready to go in, and I said to Billy Ainer, the stagehand, I don't have a name. And he said, my dog's name is Barnaby. So I said, okay, that's good enough for a couple of weeks. I opened the door and said, hi, my name is Barnaby. But, if you had a show, you could go, hey, you want to do half hour? Let's, you didn't know what you were going. It was just the joy of coming to work and saying, gee, I thought of something. Okay, let's do it. And we did.
What is this? It's a Christmas party. I know it's a Christmas party. I don't even know it's a Christmas party. I know it's a Christmas party. Why did you say, what is this?
I get a phone call one day after having been to every station in town from a guy who identifies himself. My name's Ernie Sherry. I do the Barnaby Show. Came across your resume, and I wondered if you'd be interested in coming down and being a second banana on the Barnaby Show, just the Saturday show.
And I knew that this guy was everything that we wanted. I knew he was a very talented, and we didn't have to tell each other, but we were both going to the same thing. We knew exactly. And of course, the only difficulty with Clay is that we broke up all the time.
So anyway, I got the job, and it was just, tape one night a week. And Barnaby, to work with a guy like this is my first job locally. And I'm walking out, and about 3 weeks after I started, they're talking about my own show. So they gave me an hour on Sunday. I think 4 weeks later, they lengthened it to an hour and a half because the time was sold.
Good morning. Well, Woodrow, look over to your right.
That's your idea of a joke? Huh? That's your idea of a joke?
I thought I would step around a little bit and blow.
Why don't you do this? Go back down, rest for the rest of the morning.
Hey, that's a good idea. Pardon me while I go snort.
Well, at least I can go back.
So, as I say, it was like walking into the valley of no return.
Sir, that's my baby, no, sir. I don't mean maybe, yes, sir.
That's my baby now.
When I got to Cleveland, I felt something unusual. I had Woody Frazier, and I had all of these young people